Hi, welcome back to another lesson in programming in Python. Today, what I want to do is to practice our fundamentals of flow control just a little bit more. We need to practice them often, often, often. They are the absolute foundation of any program. So, what do I mean by flow control? That means how does the program branch? Does it loop some more? Does it go this way? Does it go that way? Depending on what a user says or what is done. So, I just want to start with a few basic practice problems. I've made a module called practice.py, and I'm asking you to do that as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some stuff up here in the comments, and I want you to write a program that does that. And then I want you to unpause the video. So pause it, then write a program, then unpause it, and we'll check your work. So I can make a comment in one of two ways. I can use this pound sign, which you might call a hashtag. I could also use these three quotes, which kind of make it nice, visible, and green. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to use a for loop to print all numbers, or all integers, I'll say, from 1 to 30. Okay, so I want you to print the number 1 all the way up to and including 30. And I just do 3 more quotes and it ends that. So please pause the video and try your hardest. All right, let's see how you did. So to use a for loop, we need a variable name here, like I, and then we say in range, and we put the number here. Now, the range takes 3 parameters. It takes what do you start at, what do you end at, what do you go by. So I could say I want to start at 1, I want to end at 31, because the code will not run when it's 31, and I want to go up by 1. Perhaps you know the shortcut. If you give it just one number, it will assume that it is a 1, that number, then 31. So if I say just 31, it will assume that I'm starting at 0 and count by ones. Well, the problem there is I said to start at 1, so we could always print 1 more than the number, but I'm going to say 1 comma 31. So when I give it 2 numbers, that tells it start at 1, go up to 31, and it will automatically count by ones. But when in doubt, just use all 3 numbers. And we'll just say print I. Now that's probably what you did, but I'm going to show you a little trick here. I'm going to say end equals quote space quote. So the default print is that it makes a new line every time. But by saying end equals quote space quote, instead of ending the line with a new line character, which is actually this escape in, it will just print a space and then prints it all on one line. I didn't ask you to do that, but I figured, hey, we're doing this, I can go ahead and share it with you. You most likely, though, did something like this, which prints it all going down, and that is totally fine as well. All right, next program I want you to use, and you can just use the same module. We're just practicing, unless you want to save this for notes, in which case, make a new module. Use a while loop to loop from 100 to 200. I want you to include 100. I want you to go to 200, but you have to use a while loop. All right, pause the video, give it a shot. Okay, with the while loop, we need to have a variable to count with. We can't just say for I or something like that. So I need to either make an I or I can use an X. And I'm going to start at 100. Then I'm going to give it a condition. I want you to continue doing this loop while X is less than or equal to 200. And I will print the X, and then I will increase the X by 1. So X plus equals 1 is the same as saying X equals X plus 1. Remember, I'm saying equals, but I don't mean it. I mean gets. Gets, or X becomes the value of what it is now plus 1. But I'd like you to go ahead and start using that symbol there. It's so prevalent. And as you can see, it did print out the numbers 1 through 200. So there we go. Okay, I want you to use a for loop. I would like you to, let's see here. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Let's use a for loop to print the numbers 0 through 48 by fours. So what I'm looking for is 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, etc. Pause the video and try it. Okay, let's see how you did. Again, I usually use for I in range. You can use anything you want. You can say for num in range. This variable name is entirely up to you. And I'm going to go ahead and use all three parts of the range variable. I want it to start at 0. I want it to end at 48, but I want it to run. So I'm going to give it a number just bigger than 48, because if I put 48 there, it won't actually do it. Then comma 4, because I want it to go up by 4. And I'll print num. And we should see this print 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, all the way up to 48. All right, here's your next practice problem. I want you to use a for loop to print the numbers from 100 to 50 down by 2. So 100, 98, 96, 94, all the way down to we reach 50. All right, go. Okay. Hopefully you are pausing the video and trying this. So let's see what it does. We're going to say for, let's say I again. For I in range from 100 to 50, right? Starting number is the first number. Second number is where you end at. Ooh, but I don't want to end at 50, right? Because then I wouldn't run. Let's try 49. And the last number is what you count by, so -2. And I'll just print out the I. And we should see the numbers counting down to 50. You can see they do count down by 2s, and it does include the 50s. All right. Now what I want you to do is we're going to bring in the user. Remember the input method. I want you to ask the user their name and print hello to them by name. So if they say Jed, say hello, Jed. Simple. And then we'll build on that. Okay, pause the video, give it a try. Okay, so to do that task, you have to use the input method. But when the user will type in what they want you to have, you're gonna have to store it in something. We need a variable to grab their name when they type it in. So I'm going to say name equals input. What is your name? And then I'm going to say print hello. And I'll do that. And then I'll say plus name. And I'll put an exclamation mark. So what that's going to do is that's going to put hello, it's going to put a space, and then say their name. Alternatively, you can say hello, quote, comma name. And if you separate everything by commas, it will space them out for you. What is your name? I'll say Jed, and it says hello, Jed. All right, pretty simple. All right, let's change it. Now, I want you to ask them their name. Then I want you to ask them their age, which you should make an int. So you're going to need to change it from a string that when they type it in into a number. And then I want you to use if statements to ask if they are in elementary, middle, or high school, or graduated. Okay? So if they say that they are 7, I want you, or anything younger than, let's say anything younger than 12, I want you to ask if they're in elementary school. If they say, or you don't need to ask them, you just say print out, hi, say their name, hi, their name, you must be in elementary school. You don't need to get a response if you don't want to. I just want you to be practicing using the ifs and the elifs and the else, and then say you must be in middle school, or you must be in high school, or you must have graduated, depending on what they type in. All right, give it a try. Okay, so let's see how you did. For this program, I would say name gets input, what is your name? Then I would say age, and I'm going to int it right as I go. So I'm going to put it inside these parentheses, say int. Now that int's going to take, because when they type in that name, it's going to be in quotes, right? I want to change it. So I'm going to say, what grade, or what is your age? All right, and then here's what I'm going to say. If age is less than 12, print name, you must be in elementary school. Or whatever you did. Just, I want something based on their age. That's what I'm looking for you to do. All right, how about this? If age is less than 15. Print name, you must be in middle school. Now the question is, what if they typed in 9? Would it do both of these things, since 9 is both less than 12 and less than 15? Well, the answer is no, it would not. Because I said oops, I wrote elif and then I put if again. Sorry. Elif, there you go. It won't, because elif means only if that last if statement or any elifs before it were false. It's else if, okay? All right, next we'll say elif age is less than, let's say 18 or whatever you thought. I'll print name, you must be in high school. Lastly, how do I do like, okay, anything else? I just say else. Print name, you must be in, you must be graduated. You must have graduated. All right, let's take a look. What is your name? My name is Jed. What is your age? Well, I'm 40. Jed, you must have graduated. Well, very good, I did. Lucas, what is your age? 15. You must be in high school. Caleb, and you are 12. Caleb must be in middle school. Okay, so it looks like it's working pretty well, but you can keep testing that if you want. All right, here's the next thing I want to do. Okay, first of all, I want you to make a list of 5 names. It has to be a list. Do you remember how to make a list? If you don't, we'll cover it in a second. Then I want you to print out the first and last names in the list using that kind of thing, okay? So remember how you get an item from a list. So I know we didn't talk a lot about it, but let's see if you can do this one. A little bit of a challenge here. Okay, so to make a list of names, I just say names equals, and I have to do that. That makes it a list. And so I'm going to say Jed, Caleb, Aura, Lucas, Sue. All right, so I got that. Now, if I want to print the first name in that list, I say names bracket 0. If I want to print the last name, I say names bracket 1. Or no, names bracket, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll print that out, and you'll see it should do the last 2 names. All right, but here's a question. What if I didn't know how many items were in the list? Well, here's how you get the length of a list. You say, I want to do, so I'm just going to say length names is equal to len. So you say len names, and that gets you how many names there are. Okay? And so from there, I can say print names, length names, or I could just say len names again, I guess, but I wanted to make it explicit. And I got to subtract 1 because the length of this list is 5 because there's 5 names, but the last element is 1 less than that. So that should do the same thing, okay? All right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write a program that asks the user for names, and I want you to use the .append. So I want you to start with a blank list of names, okay? So make an empty list of names. And I want you to let the user type in names, okay, until they say done. Okay, so you need to, or something like that. You need to have some way to make it stop. Okay, then I want you to print out each name in the list. Okay, so you can use, and we'll go over a couple different ways you can do that. We used a what I call a for each loop in the last video that we did with the turtles. So give that a try. The hardest part is going to be getting the user to stop doing it. So if you're not sure how to do that, you can use a while loop that asks the user to just type in 10 names and keep asking them over and over again. But really go for it. Try and make this a really well done program. Okay, let's see. What I'm going to do, one other thing we could have done, we could have asked the user, how many names you want to enter, and then you could have done that through loops. That's actually a good idea. So I'm going to show that first. I'll say num equals input, and I'll say how many names. And then I can say for I need to make a names, right? I could say names for I in range num. So no matter what they typed in, if they typed in 20, I will be 0, 1, 2, 3 all the way up to 19, which is 20 numbers. So just that simple. For I in range blank will do something that many times. So for I in range num, I'm gonna say names dot append input, and I will just say name. There we go. So that then all we have to do to print it, we could be kind of lame. We could just say print the list, right? But I want to do it like this. For name in names, print name. And then it'll print them all, each one on a separate line. Okay, so hope you can see my shell down here. It says, how many names? I'm going to say 4. Oh, my goodness gracious, man alive. Do you know what I did so bad? Do you see the error I got? It says type error, str for string object cannot be interpreted as an integer. That's right, because it's not an integer. It's a string, even though it is a string of a number. I need to int it. I can do it all at one line, or I can say this, num equals int of num. Whichever way you want to do that. Okay, that was a bad mistake. 4. All right, I'll say Solomon, Bailey, Messi. It's named my bird, but also a soccer player. And Havala. And then I printed them. Okay, so that's not exactly what I told you to do, though, is it? We really should make it to where it keeps asking them. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, let's give some instructions. First, I'm going to print. I'm going to say print. Enter a name. When done, say done. Now this is kind of confusing. If I use a double quote, it's okay as long as I put a single quote here. If I want to use another double quote, but I don't want to close off my string, I have to do an escape sequence. See how that does that? And it keeps it, and then I put a quote to end it. Okay? That keeps it from closing off the string literal. All right, so enter a name, when done, say done. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a blank names, okay? And I am going to get an input, and I'm going to wait until they say done. So I'm going to say, I'll say response equals quote. So I'm going to just leave it blank for now, okay? And I'm going to say while response, how about this? While not response equals done. Okay? Then names.append, and it's going to say name question mark, and it's going to keep asking them that while their response does not say done. So I need to get response. So my response will be equal to the input name question mark, and then I will add that to the name as long as it doesn't say done. So I'm going to say if response, if not response equals done, then I'll say names.append response. So how does that work? So we start with a blank response. So then it's going to come to this code here, and it's going to say, while not response is done. Is the response equal to done? Equals means that's what it is, not assignment, right? Well, no, because it's just a blank string. So it definitely will enter the first time. Then I'm going to change the value of response to what they type in. If they said done, I don't want to append the word done to my name list. Instead, I would just stop. But if they don't say done, I'm going to append it, put it on into my list. And then it will go back up here to the while loop. Remember, the while loop is continuing for as long as it's indented. So this block of code is going to keep running until someone types in the word done. Then it will stop. Once they type in done here on line 10, it will not put it in my append, and it will exit the loop. And then we'll print them. So I'm going to enter a name. Let's say New York, Alabama, Texas, California, Arizona, done. New York, Alabama, Texas, California, Arizona. Okay, last thing I want to show you before we leave this is that I do want to show you one other way that you can loop through a list. This is what I call a for each loop, but I can also loop through with an I. I can say for I in range, len names. And the length of the names, if they type in 5 names, the length is 5. But range will go from 0 up to but not including 5. And then what I have to do is say names bracket I. So that will print out the ith name. So it'll print out names bracket 0, which is the first name, names bracket 1, etc., etc. All right, let's run it. So I'll say, I don't know, Kit Kat, Kiss, what do you got? Reese's, I don't know, Gumdrop, done. Okay, so I hope you learned something from that review about how to use ifs, whiles, and for loops, and we also talked a little about lists. Okay, so until I see you again, take care.